Hi dear students, good morning to all. Dear students, in the previous part we have completed the first topic entitled as Chemical Kinetics 2. Dear students, in that topic particularly we talk about the rate of reaction and how we can explain the rate of reaction based upon the collision theory for unimolecular as well as bimolecular reaction, and also we discussed about the concept of activated complex or the activated complex theory. Dear students, in this part we are going to start a new topic here entitled as chemical thermodynamics. Dear friends, this topic is not too much different from the colligative property. It is a study of colligative property based upon the thermodynamic. That's why it is entitled as chemical thermodynamic. Dear students, in this part of the video lecture, we are going to discuss about solutions as well as thermodynamics of ideal solutions. So here we are going to talk about the types of solutions. Again, we are going to talk about the Raoult's law and what is the relationship between vapor pressure and the composition of the solution. Dear students, as far as concerned with the solution, as we all are aware that solutions can be classified into different types based upon the physical condition of the components present in the solution, and one of the type is called as the binary solution. Particularly it is called as the binary homogeneous solution. Binary indicates that this solution consists of the two components, and whenever these two components are present in the same phase, a single phase, then the solution is called as the binary homogeneous solution. Here a homogeneous mixture of liquid solute in a liquid solvent means both are the solute, both are the liquid, and hence this solution is called as homogeneous, and it made up of or it contains only the two component, one is the solute, another one is the solvent. That's why it is called as the binary solution. Here one example is a solution of ethanol in water. Ethanol is also liquid and the water is also liquid, and definitely both are miscible, so it is called as the homogeneous binary solution. Whenever we will talk about types of binary solution based upon the physical conditions as well as their tendency to undergo miscibility, then the solutions are classified into three different types. Binary solution, definitely it consists of the only two component. One is the solvent, another one is the solute. Solute is present in the smaller quantity while the solvent is present in the larger quantity, and particularly we are going to talk about the binary solution, homogeneous binary solution. So though both will be present in the liquid form. The first type is called as the completely miscible liquid solution, in which it is completely miscible. It means in which the two liquids are completely miscible with one another. In the second type, it is called as the partially miscible liquid. Here both the liquids are there, but these two liquids are not completely miscible. These are incompletely or partially miscible with one another. And the third type is called as the completely immiscible liquid. Here the two liquids are not miscible, these are completely immiscible with another. So in this type, definitely we will get the two layers whenever we will mix the two liquid components into with one another. We will definitely get the two layers, just like the oil is mixed in water. So one layer will be of water and the another will be of water. Here the example of completely miscible liquid is alcohol in the water, in which both are completely miscible. Partially miscible, phenol in the water. Here phenol in the water is not completely miscible. These are partially miscible based upon the composition, and definitely this pair is called as the partially miscible liquids. And here the another example is iodobenzene in the water, in which iodobenzene and water are completely immiscible. If we will talk about the solutions which are completely miscible with one another, definitely it is possible to study this solution. Here based upon the same, These completely miscible solutions are the solution in which a single phase exists or the whole system will exist in the single phase, and the amount of its constituent or the amount of composition can be varied to any extent. Then and then the system always lead to or system always will exist into a single phase, and the constituent liquid molecules do not interact with each other, and complete immiscible liquids again can be classified into two types. These are called as ideal solutions, and it is also called as the perfect solution. The second type of the completely miscible liquid is called as non-ideal solution, or these are also called as the real solution. Actually, why these are called as the ideal solution and the non-ideal solution, that is also the important part here that we will discuss. Actually, the later on we will discuss why the solutions are called as ideal solution and or the non-ideal solution. Then you will come to that the solution which obeys the Rawls law, these solutions are called as the ideal solution or the perfect solution, while the solution which do not obey Rawls law are called as the non-ideal solution or the real solution. Definitely we will discuss, and that's why as this classification is based upon whether the solution obeys Rawls law or not, that's why it is important to study the what is Rawls law, how we can define, how we can derive the equation for the Rawls law. That's why it's important to study the Rawls law here. This Rawls law can be studied here with the help of solution, containing the several liquids or the number of liquids which are in equilibrium with each other, which are equilibrium with the vapor phase. Whenever you will consider several liquids, definitely at higher temperature the liquid will be converted into vapor, and here we are going to consider the solution in which several liquids are in equilibrium with the vapors in a closed vessel at a particular temperature T, and then the in that system if we will consider any component, suppose that component is indicated by means of an I, both in gas phase as well as solution phase. For example, suppose you will talk about the water system in which along with the water some another components may be present, but this water can exist in the liquid form as well as gas form. It means it can exist in the solution phase as well as gas phase. Then the chemical composition then the chemical potential indicated by means of mu of that I component, just like for example water, is given by, in gas phase it is given by mu, means the chemical potential of I component in gas phase is equal to the chemical potential, standard chemical potential of I component in gaseous phase plus RT ln of Fi. Fi is the fugacity of ith component in gas phase, while in the solution phase chemical chemical potential of ith component in liquid phase is equal to the standard chemical potential of ith component in liquid phase plus RT ln of activity of I component. Here you can see the meaning of this symbol that we used in the chemical potential in order to derive the chemical potential. Mu I0 is the standard chemical potential of any particular I component. This is general component, because system may consist of 1, 2 or 3 or more than 3 components, then the whatever chemical potential of the particular component is indicated by means of an mu I, and the standard chemical potential is indicated by mu I0, while Fi is the fugacity of that component and AI is the activity of the same component. Difference only is that fugacity is the term applicable for the gaseous phase and activity is applicable to the solution phase. So at equilibrium what happens? The chemical potential of that component, means that component in both the phase must be same, means the chemical potential of ith component in gas phase is equal to the chemical potential of ith component in liquid phase. So already we have equation for mu I of chemical potential of I in gas phase and the chemical potential of I component in liquid phase, and if we put these values in this equation, then definitely we will get this because we have this equation for this and this equation for this. And definitely, as their chemical potential of ith component in gas phase is equal to the chemical potential of ith component in liquid phase. As the component is same, its the chemical potential is same, and that's why their standard chemical potential will be also same. So this quantity is equal to this quantity, so that will get cancelled here. And RT, at both the sides are containing RT, so RT divided by RT, that will also get cancelled because it will be the common term, and in only that is ln of Fi is equal to ln of AI, means it will become ln of Fi minus ln of AI, means log of A minus log of B, that can be simplified as log of A upon B, and that's why ln of will get the Fi upon AI. And after removing this by taking the antilog, definitely what term is there, that term will simply a constant. That's why the ratio of fugacity of I component to the activity of ith component is constant, indicated by means of NZ. Dear friends, here if we will consider the particular component in pure state, for example I component in the pure state, then what happens in the pure state? The fugacity of that component is equal to the standard fugacity of that component, means Fi is equal to Fi0, and in that condition the activity becomes unity, means the activity is equal to 1. Hence the previous equation Z is equal to Fi upon AI becomes Z is equal to Fi0 divided by 1. It means that this Z is equal to it is the standard fugacity of ith component in gaseous phase. So here it means that Fi upon AI is equal to Z, but this Z is equal to Fi0, and here means Fi upon AI is equal to Fi0. That's why we can simplify the equation for AI. So Fi upon Fi0 is equal to AI. So we can write the equation for activity of ith component, and this activity of ith component is equal to the ratio of Fi upon Fi0. When the system behaves ideally, what happens? The solution is ideal. It means that the fugacity when the system behave ideally, it means that the solution is ideal. Whenever the solution is ideal, in that case the fugacity is always replaced by partial pressure of that component, and activity may be replaced by the mole fraction. So when remember that when the solution behave ideally, then the fugacity of particular component is always replaced by partial pressure, while the activity is replaced by mole fraction. So here fugacity will be replaced by partial pressure, and this activity will be replaced by the mole fraction of that component. And that's why this equation 1 can be written as, or for ideal solution or the mixture of liquid, this equation can be written as, in which activity is replaced by mole fraction and the fugacity are replaced by, or the fugacity is replaced by partial pressure of that component, means the Pi is the partial pressure of ith component, and Pi0 is the partial vapor pressure of I in pure state, and Xi is the mole fraction of that component, means the ith component. This equation number 2 can be also written as, it is equation number 2. Equation number 2, in this sense, this equation number 2, Xi is equal to Pi upon Pi0, can be also written as because Xi is equal to Pi upon Pi0, that's why Pi is the partial vapor pressure is equal to mole fraction of ith component into the partial vapor pressure of ith component in pure state. And from this equation 3 we can state that, or we can say that the vapor pressure of a volatile constituent I in solution is always equal to its vapor pressure in pure state, means the Pi0 multiplied by its mole fraction, that is Xi. So vapor pressure of any component, or the vapor pressure of volatile component or the constituent in solution is always equal to its vapor pressure in pure state multiplied by the mole fraction of that component in solution at remaining temperature the same, or that constant temperature. And this statement that Pi is equal to Xi into Pi0 is called as the Rolle's law. So partial vapor pressure of volatile component is always equal to the product or the multiplication of vapor pressure of same component in pure state and the mole fraction of the component in solution. So it's very simple, that is partial vapor pressure is equal to the product of mole fraction in the vapor pressure in pure state. So this equation 3 is called as the Rolle's law, or it is the statement for the Rolle's law, and that's why the equation number 3 is the another definition of ideal solution. And that simple definition is that the solution which obeys Rolle's law at all concentrations and temperature is called as ideal solution. It means that the solution which obeys Rolle's law at all concentrations and temperature is called as an ideal solution. Dear friends, just we have seen what is Rolle's law, how it gives the relationship between vapor pressure, partial vapor pressure and the mole fraction, as well as the vapor pressure in pure state of the same component. At the same time, we people are here interested to see or to study the relationship between the vapor pressure and the composition of the ideal solution. What happens with the vapor pressure whenever we will change the composition of the solution in terms of solvent as well as solute. Whenever composition it changes, it means the concentration changes. It means that the amount of solute or the amount of solvent changes. Here definitely it will lead to the change in composition. For that purpose, here we will consider the system. That system consists of the two liquids, liquid A and the liquid B, which are volatile and completely miscible. Here the two liquids are there, liquid A and liquid B, which are completely miscible, and these two liquid form the ideal solution. Suppose their mole fraction are indicated by XA and XB, means XA and XB are the mole fractions of the two liquid A and B. Then according to Rolle's law, what is Rolle's law? Partial vapor pressure of ith component is equal to the product, means the multiplication of mole fraction and the vapor pressure in the pure state. So this is PA is equal to XA into PA0, and PB will be equal to XB into PB0, where this PA and PB, these are the partial vapor pressures of A and B in the system. PA0 and PB0, these are the vapor pressures of pure liquid A and B respectively. Therefore the total vapor pressure, partial vapor pressure is the vapor pressure of pure component in the solution, but the total vapor pressure of the solution will be equal to the sum or the addition of partial vapor pressure of A liquid plus partial vapor pressure of another B liquid, and definitely PA plus PB. If we put these values of P and PB, then we will get this equation XA into PA0 plus XB into PB0. As you know, dear friends, you know the addition of mole fraction of all the components in the solution is always equal to 1, and here as we are going to talk about the binary solution, means the solution containing solvent and the solution, and here we consider the two liquids, solvent and solute, and here we consider the two liquids to consider the solution containing two liquid A and the liquid B. That's why the sum of mole fraction of liquid A and the mole fraction of liquid B will be always equal to 1. That's why this equation can be modified for the mole fraction of A, XA is equal to 1 minus XB. So if we put this value of XA in this equation, then this XA will be replaced by 1 minus XB. See, therefore this total vapor pressure will be equal to 1 minus XB into PA0 plus XB into PB0. Here we will multiply PA0 to this bracket, and it will be simplified as PA0 minus PA0 into XB plus xb into pb0. Therefore here we can take this xb as a common outside the bracket. Therefore we will get the equation for total vapor pressure P is equal to PA0 plus PB0 minus PA0 into xb. And this equation indicates that the total vapor pressure of system containing the two liquids which are completely miscible. This total vapor pressure depends upon what? It depends upon the mole fraction of the solute. It means it depends upon the concentration of the liquid B. It means it depends upon the composition. So here this total vapor pressure depends upon the mole fraction of liquid B. So here this equation gives the relationship between vapor pressure and composition of the solution. Here this relation can be studied with the help of this diagram here. I hope you can understand this. Here suppose since this PA0 and PB0, these are the vapor pressure of the two liquids in pure state at a particular temperature, then it is clear that from equation 4 the total vapor pressure P is a linear function of the mole fraction B, because here just we have seen that this total vapor pressure P depends upon the xB. It means that it is directly proportional to xB. As the xB changes, the value of total vapor pressure also changes, or it can be also expressed in terms of xa. If we will put instead of xB, if we will put 1 minus xa, then that we will get the another relation. Hence, whenever this total vapor pressure plotted against mole fraction of B or the mole fraction of A, we will get such type of straight line. Here I would like to, this is the plot of vapor pressure, this is the plot of vapor pressure against mole fraction, and here on this side this mole fraction of liquid A is greater, is 1, while the mole fraction of the another liquid B is 0. And as we are going towards this side, the mole fraction of B increases and it will be 1, while the mole fraction of this A will decreases and it will be 0 on this side. This thing, that is this thick line, indicates the total vapor pressure of the system containing the two liquids A and B which are completely miscible. This dotted line indicates the partial vapor pressure of two liquids, liquid A and the liquid B. So this is a partial vapor pressure of, this is the partial vapor pressure of liquid A, and this line indicates the partial vapor pressure of liquid B. Here you can see from whenever we are going from this side to this side, the concentration or the composition of the xB goes on increases. That's why its vapor pressure goes on increases. But whenever we are going from this side to this side, the value of xa goes on decreasing. That's why its vapor pressure goes on decreasing. It's very important to understand how the partial vapor pressure of both the liquid goes on changing with their concentration, with their composition. And friends, from the figure, this just I tried to explain what this figures indicating here. That is, the full-fledged line indicates the total vapor pressure, mole fraction diagram, and dotted line indicates the partial vapor pressure versus composition. Whenever this mole fraction of liquid B is equal to 1, means maximum, while that of the another liquid A is 0, then the solution contains only pure component B, and in that case we will put the value of x is equal to 0 and xB is equal to 1, and definitely we will get the equation P is equal to PB0, means the total vapor pressure of the system will be equal to the partial vapor pressure of pure component B. And whenever at the another condition, whenever this xa whenever in another condition where xa is equal to 1 means maximum, while the xb means the mole fraction of another liquid B 0, then the solution will contain only pure component A, and in that condition the total vapor pressure of system will be equal to the partial vapor pressure of liquid A only. Here, because the composition containing only the constituent A, while the constituent B will be 0. So I think, dear friends, today we try to study the relationship between vapor pressure and the composition of the solution with the help of two liquids, liquid A and liquid B, which are completely miscible. And we came to know that this vapor pressure depends linearly on the composition, means the mole fraction of the liquids in the binary system in which the two liquids are completely miscible. So dear friends, in the next part of the video we will talk about the another uh, system, or the another characteristic or the colligative property, which will be depending upon the composition of the system. And also we will talk about how there is a change in the vapor pressure with the change in composition of the system containing the two liquids which are completely miscible. So we will resume in the next part of the video to discuss about the next topic. Thank you very much.